Hey y'all, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Kevin.
And coming up on this episode of Hope Ignited, we've got a slam dunk episode that you're not going to want to miss.
That was corny and I didn't approve that intro.
Really laid it up there for you.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, anyway, we have an amazing basketball focused episode. You're going to want to stick around for this. We are talking to a young man today named Blake Harper. Blake is a phenom basketball player from Howard University.
Yeah.
He has come on the scene and made quite a splash. Tell us a little bit more about Blake.
I mean, it was really incredible how we got connected to Blake. The really unique thing I think about him is that, he just lost his mom to breast cancer. And not all of the guests that come on the show have a cause connection, but he did. And it was just a really vulnerable conversation that we were able to have with him where it really felt like he opened up about that tragedy for the first time during our conversation.
Well, as you know, our podcast is not about breast cancer per se, but we work for the National Breast Cancer Foundation. And from time to time, we get an email in our inbox from someone, a celebrity who wants to use their platform for good, if you will, and they want to share their story. Mm-hmm. And so Blake's message came to us from his management. Believe it or not, college students now have management because of NIL. I guess we'll get into that a little bit today. But Blake's reached out to us, and he basically, as you're going to hear, his mother passed from breast cancer, and he said, "I want to use my platform to discuss this." And it was immediately, you hear this, and your heart is broken, because I can't imagine losing my mom at such a young age and then wanting to talk about it.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that you guys related a lot on that. I think that you provided an opportunity and a foundation for him to feel like he wasn't alone because he, knew certainly going into the episode, but after speaking with you and just really you could see the walls of vulnerability coming down during the short time that we had with him. And I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, we do get emails like this quite often, which is such a blessing. But the reason that we felt like it made a lot of sense for the podcast is because of the platform that he has built. I mean, you want to talk about like number one, number two in the country as far as his stats go. He's often, and we'll do this for an SEO bit, right there behind Cooper Flagg, which is wild. Like when we were like, are really? Like really? But we did our due diligence, and he is.
Yeah, he's got some games right now. Like I think his top games like 35 points or something, which is just incredible for a freshman to be coming in and doing that. And of course, he's already getting courted by other schools and being talked about as a potential NBA prospect. So it's going to be fun. We're going to enjoy talking about that together, and then we're going to have a special new segment that we're going to talk about after. And so you're going to want to stick around after the interview and hear some
Kevin go off his rocker.
Earth.
Let's call it what it is. Kevin's going to fly off of his rocker during that second portion of the show.
I can't wait.
So, we hope you guys enjoy it, though. Let's get right into this episode with Blake Harper of Hope Ignited. All right, you guys, welcome to this episode of Hope Ignited. We are so excited to be joined today by the one and only Mr. Blake Harper. Blake, welcome to Hope Ignited.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We're so happy you're here. Okay, first of all, tell us where you're calling from this morning.
Yes, I'm calling from Washington, D.C. at Howard University.
Very cool. What's the weather like there? It's like gloomy and rainy here in Dallas today. Hopefully you have better weather than we do.
It's a little chilly, partly cloudy, a little wind chill, that's all.
I love it. Nothing's going to hold you back.
The joy of walking to class.
Oh my gosh.
When there's blizzards and things like that, right? Like DC can get cold. I know it can get a lot colder and you get that wind whipping in your face.
But you're from there, right? Yeah. Like you're like that. You're used to that type of weather, right?
Yeah, I lived here my whole life, so it's kind of. I've got used to one day it being 80, next day being 40. So just kind of always having my coat by my side. Yeah, I'm good.
You want to talk about fans in the stands. That must be really cool to be able to play for the university in the town that you grew up in. I think we should just jump right into it. Look, people know you. People have heard your story. People have seen your reels and your sports center. I mean, you are such a vibe. First of all, thank you for your time. We know how busy you are.
Sure,
we know how
being
a student athlete is no joke. I don't even think people realize how hard it is to keep up. But I just want to start with how you found basketball. Talk to us about the beginning of when you fell in love with the sport.
Basketball was kind of put in my hands early at an early age. My dad kind of put in a little toy hoop in the dining room. Kind of when after I eat, I just wanted to play basketball. And really just being an outlet, and that's been with me for my whole life. Basketball has kind of just been the way that I could get my emotions off my chest, having a bad day or having some built up anger. I just kind of express my emotions and my stress into basketball.
But give me hope, right? Because like if I'm playing stress basketball, it's like, Kevin, want to play horse? Like yours was probably like, was it that simple for you? Were you going out and like immediately good, or were you just going out to have fun and blow off some steam?
I was kind of going out to have fun, but then when I realized I could kind of make a career and I started to find love for it, I wanted to do it by myself. Kind of coming from a city where everybody either plays basketball or football, it's kind of one or the other. And when I found basketball, I felt like I needed to stick with it because this was my love.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had read that you started playing in your senior year of high school. Is that right?
Wild.
I started playing like on my team.
Like on the team?
Yeah.
So, leading up to that, you were playing pickup and stuff like that?
Like
just for fun over the years?
Yeah.
No, so basically, I started playing basketball since I was like 6 years old. But really what you're referring to is I played junior varsity on the JV level for my freshman and sophomore year. And then my junior year, I was kind of like sitting on the bench. I was buried on the bench. I couldn't get off the bench. And I was a lot of high-rated guys in front of me. And then my senior year, that's kind of when I started to blossom and kind of get confidence in myself. And the opportunity to play was there.
That gives me so much hope. Like, so you're saying there's a chance, right?
I mean, you just got it going like in a short amount of time. You had to have had a few games that really made the scouts start looking at you. What was there one particular game that kind of put you on the radar screen?
Yeah, so kind of this season was kind of been a full uphill, but probably to the internet standpoint. But I'll probably say for myself, there's been a lot of mental battles just kind of leading up to the point because, like I said, I'm new to this whole spotlight thing. Like you said earlier, I just started like really playing like in people's eyes my senior year, and I'm only a freshman. But kind of like you said on your question, I'll probably say the Cincinnati game. Kind of going in there with nothing to lose, and everybody knowing or thinking that we would, lose and get our heads beaten, but kind of just staying poised and having my maturity and my confidence. I feel like that Cincinnati game, I really showed the different levels of my game. Also, when I achieved a triple-double, a 30-point triple-double when we played a game here, I think that was probably my best game so far this season.
Wow. I've seen those highlights. Yeah, you mentioned it, so I'm just going to say it here. Okay, so last month, you became the first freshman this century to have a 30-point triple-double, one of two freshmen in the entire country to be averaging at least 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists per game this season. And I think now it's 10-time Rookie of the Week honor. What does that mean to you to hear numbers like that, Blake? That's wild.
It's kind of the sacrifice and everything I've put into basketball, kind of the passion that I give to the game. And I think what it separates me from players around the country that I want to play the game the right way, regardless how the game's going. I'm trying to find my teammates. I'm trying to get a win in the win column, regardless of how I'm playing. So just kind of knowing myself and taking on this new role and this new team is just kind of like just a blessing in disguise. A lot comes with it, but I'm ready to handle the new spotlight.
Clip that. I'm going to show that to everybody I know that wants to play sports. That's incredible.
I heard someone mention your game looks a little bit like Paul Pierce. How does that make you feel?
Dang.
Yeah. I mean, just kind of being, it's crazy because I used to be compared like to nobody. I
got compared to Paul Blart, Mall Cop, but anyway, a different Paul.
Google that one later.
Nah, for sure. But being compared to an NBA Hall of Famer, always Paul Pierce, I think I resemble his game a lot. Just kind of him being able to get to the mid-range, but not letting anybody control his pace, and him knowing how to play with his body. I think I take different parts from his game as well. Heck of a player, and won a couple NBA championships. So why not be compared to him?
No
I'm
kidding.
trying to get where he was at. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So sick. And I read that one of your mentors was Jalen Brunson. Tell me about that.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson. So I kind of got a chance to see him in high school and seeing his game like kind of blossom. My dad was a coach at Gonzaga College High School, and they played them in Chicago, where Jalen Brunson is from. So ever since then, I seen him. I was like, damn, he's special. So I googled his name and just kind of followed his journey from there. And him being an undersized guard, but being able to play the game and also control the game at a smaller guard level, but also being able to use his body and create open lanes and create open shots for his teammates. Kind of just what some key takeaways I've taken from his game.
We're Dallas. We're from Dallas, Frisco, technically, which is a suburb of Dallas, and so we're Mavericks fans. So we had Brunson. He was phenomenal. We lost him to the Knicks or the where'd he go? Brooklyn.
He's at the Knicks. He's at the Knicks.
Knicks. Sorry, yeah. I knew it was somewhere up in the Northeast. Anyway, when we lost him, it was really upsetting. We got Kyrie. We love Kyrie, but it kind of reminded me for a second when you were talking about using your body, controlling the pace about Luka. Are there any other players, like either past or present NBA players, that you try to emulate their game intentionally or elements of their game?
For sure. I mean, my favorite player in the league is Jason Tatum. I watch him every night. Like I have a picture like this is right here next to my desk.
So cool.
No way.
You look exactly the same. You haven't aged a bit.
Yeah. That's my favorite player for sure. But somebody I think I would play like and I actually study, I would say Jabari Parker from Duke a couple years ago. And like a Julius Randle type of game. Kind of slower lefty, knows how to read the court, high IQ, but can also, guard like the bigger guys, but also, switch back onto the point guards or shooting guards.
Man, that's great.
Speaking of Duke, as a Tar Heels fan over here, there's a player on Duke that's trying to put up your numbers, and it just seems like you guys are going 1-2. What's it like to be in the conversations with somebody like that?
Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I played Cooper Flagg my senior year in high school. And I mean, he killed us. I mean, it was a beauty to watch. Like I was on the bench, but I was watching the show.
That guy's a freak, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a great player for sure.
Yeah.
Just kind of being in that same element as him. Like I understand how he feels, but I mean, like he's a hard worker for sure. And I think we're 1-2, and I think we're just gonna keep going to the top.
I love it. Cool. I'm sure you've seen his Rucker Park performance where he hit the 3 at the end. Do you have any aspirations of playing in Rucker Park one day?
I mean, yeah, for sure. Rucker Park's a legendary court in New York. I got some guys on the team who are from New York as well. So just kind of seeing them and, New York is a great place to play basketball as well. Hostile environment. Yeah. Kind of just the beauty of basketball and everybody coming to one place to see art. So just kind of Rucker Park is a story. I would love to play there for sure.
That's fantastic.
One question I have for you, Mr. Too Slippery. I've read a little bit about the songs that hype you up, but like we always talk about that, right? Like, what would your walk-up song be? Like, what are you listening to when you? I want to know your songs because we had a lot of similar interests when I was reading some of the things that like pump you up. Let's share with our audience today some of the music that gets you going.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a different guy. Kind of going towards the game while I'm on the bus, I'm kind of getting hype. Kind of got like some Boston deal, like you said, Too Slippery. Just different things popping up my ears to get my adrenaline going. But then when I get in the locker room, I'm putting on my shorts, my jersey. It's kind of I got a lot of Rod Wave going. Just kind of things kind of to settle my mind down because I think that's a lot of problems with a couple of guys. Just playing basketball, the adrenaline and the pressure makes them nervous. Just kind of easing the pain and just kind of taking it all in for just being in the moment. That's why, I just turn on some chill music and while I just go out there and do my warm up.
I would be remiss to not take the opportunity to ask you ahead of the Super Bowl, are you Drake or Kendrick?
I'm a Drake guy. That's a funny question. I'm a Drake guy. I definitely grew up listening to Drake, but I don't really think Kendrick is the best rapper. I think he has a couple good ones. I think he beat Drake in the battle for sure. But I'm still Team Drake for sure. I'm still a believer.
I'm here for it. I love it. I love it.
Okay, I want to go back for a second about you're in this really unique time in your life, being a student athlete. Ashley mentioned it in a minute. So, some of us know if we've been or had friends or were student athletes. What is that like to be a D1 student athlete on a day-to-day basis? What does your day look like?
Yeah, so my day, it's tough. To be honest, kind of the switch is so drastic coming from high school too. But kind of the opportunity to live on campus. So I'm gonna just take you through the day. So I wake up probably about 5:15, shower, do everything, get ready. Then I scooter up to the gym. It's too cold to walk or anything. So I scooter up to the gym, get some shots up, 5:45. I'm in the gym with my teammate Josh Strong, and we just kind of in there shooting, getting the sweat before practice. And then 7 a.m. hits, and we got practice. Everybody comes in the gym. Practice is from 7 to 9. So then I got class right at 9:10. Luckily, all my classes are virtually, so I just pull out my computer and I connect with my teacher that way. But still got to get my classes and get attend the classes and do my work. So class at 9 o'clock. I got class at 12 o'clock, and then just kind of easing on throughout the day. So and then I go back to the gym and lift when all my classes are done, and then probably get a bite to eat, watch some film with the coaches, and then come back and enjoy the rest of my day. I'll probably get out of the gym at like 7 p.m.
That's wild. That's bedtime. That's insane.
That's a long day.
That's talk about grit.
Sure.
I cannot wait for my kids to watch this and to be inspired by you and to understand that it doesn't come easy. It takes work, right? And a day in the life, we'll go to rec soccer after school or something, and it's the end of their day, right? So I'm like, come on. It really does take the ambition, the want to, I'm just so incredibly proud of you and all that you've done. Somebody else who is still incredibly proud of you and all that you've done is your mom. And her legacy is really what brought us together today. So, for those that aren't familiar, tell us a little bit about your mom.
Yeah, so my mom was a beautiful young lady. She was the first DC gun violence prevention director of the city of DC. So she's kind of been involved in the city of DC since I've been born. I've been taking around the city since I was young. She worked downtown all her life, and I was just kind of just there with her throughout the whole process. She would pick me up from school, drop me off at school, and still make it back all the way downtown. I used to go to school in Bethesda, Maryland, so it was about an hour, and she used to make it work every single morning. She kind of was a person that sacrificed a lot for me, but didn't want to say too much because that's just the world she felt like she was doing. And kind of you don't recognize how much you love somebody until they leave and you never see them again. Yeah. And just kind of the reality that she won't never come back is kind of the piece and the empty part that never I won't ever get back. She was the glue to my family, and everybody loved her. She was the main connection of my family. She was an outlet to she was my best friend. I could talk to her about anything, and it wasn't really it was a mom-son relationship, but I talked to her like she was my sister or anything like that. And just her being there for me throughout, if I could do something terribly wrong, she would still be there for me in my corner. And just knowing that, and the feeling of being protected, the feeling of, having there someone that can support you throughout whatever. It's no other feeling like that in the world. As
a mom, in hearing you say that, I just want you to know, first and foremost, she still hears you. She's still protecting you. And she's so proud of you. We know that. But one of the things that makes me so proud, Blake, is you could have just stopped working hard. You could have just stopped working on ways to honor her. And, as a mom who's driving my kids, picking them up from school, making that hour round trip, taking them to practices and stuff, I think it's important for you to realize that so many of the really unique ways that you have to utilize your platform to honor her legacy, you're doing just that. And the cool thing is it's just the beginning. And a lot of what we've read and in the short amount of time we've had the pleasure to get to know you, I think it's who you are off that court that really is what leaves an impression, right? That's your legacy. And so I just want to commend you on honoring her legacy. Tell tell me a little bit more about what you remember about her breast cancer journey specifically. Do you remember when she was diagnosed? Do you remember just more about the journey specifically? Tell us about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember the day like it was yesterday. I remember I was walking through the door from school, and I walked through the back door. And I'm an only child, so family's tight. It's just me, my pops, with my mom and my dog. So just kind of seeing my mom and my dad sit at the dinner table, they'd tell me have a seat. I mean, I knew it was something really serious. My mom started to break down because she knew it. This wasn't what she wanted to do. But basically, she couldn't talk at all. My dad had told me the news, and my mom just looked at me with with glossy eyes. Literally, just the moment where she told me that she had breast cancer, my life changed forever. It was in January 2023. She was diagnosed with that, I believe. And I mean, that conversation was so surface level, because if we got any details into it, it would have been waterworks for sure. Kind of feeling that pain and inside of me being, dang, this, I thought she was invincible, and she was a fighter, so powerful. She changed people's lives, and then now, it's just a luck. I mean, I felt terrible. I felt terrible for her, but I feel like she felt worse for me than she felt for herself. Mm-hmm. So I mean, she knew, but also she wanted to protect me from the reality of it. Mm-hmm. She was diagnosed in January. She took a week to tell me because she didn't know if she wanted to tell me or not, and because she knew it would mess my head up. She knew how close we were. She knew our relationship. Just kind of that conversation at the dining room table, this was kind of so tense, and just my family being so small, and just that conversation, it was like I can't even put it into words.
Yeah.
You've had more loss than a young man should have to go through, and I'm very sorry for that. I'm extremely proud of you. I think any of us who've lost a parent, I certainly didn't lose. I lost my dad a few years ago. I was a grown man and had kids of my own. And it still hurt tremendously. It took me a while. And so I know you talking about this today, I can't tell you how much I admire you and your courage. What is it that you want people to know? Because that's the only thing I can think of that would drive someone to kind of be vulnerable about, such a painful experience. Is you obviously, there's some things that you have on your chest that you want people to know about this experience you went through. What would it be?
Just knowing that, this isn't a unique situation, sadly, but the reality of it. I'm not the only one to lose somebody to breast cancer, but I feel like there's ways that I could have went about it that was better than how I did. Just finding the right outlet, the right person, the right trustful person to talk to about the situation, and just knowing someone who got your corner. Like I told y'all, my mom was that person for me, so just kind of her not being there and kind of having to talk to somebody about my mom who was going through breast cancer, who didn't really have the same situation I didn't feel like I could resonate with. Kind of understanding the fact that my mom does have breast cancer and sinking that reality into my chest, regardless of how I felt about it, that kind of was the toughest part. But kind of what I want people to know is that you're not the only one. There's a lot of people out here who's suffering and who feel the same way as you. So just kind of, I would say, finding the right person and the right outlet to, give your emotions to.
That's so important. We talk to a lot of individuals, Blake, some everyday walk of life. Some are celebrities, athletes, and influencers. And they say, I felt like my parent had a lot of resources, or even, their spouse. But as a kid, I really didn't. And so we're really proud at NBCF to have a new initiative where we're talking to the kids. We're not talking at them, we're talking to them, and we're making them feel less alone. And again, I just want to commend you, like Kevin, and taking this step and us being able to work together for the foreseeable future to be able to do this for other children, to say I'm Blake. I'm going through this too, right? And I think the other reality is it's not just a season of your life, right? You're kind of always going through it. And while it gets easier, it's still there's a pit, right? And you still feel it. And I just can't say enough about on a day like you have, just being a student athlete and all the success you've seen on the court, how, it's just incredible that we now have this initiative where we can work together to help other families and specifically kids that are going through this together. When they hear from you, when they watch this episode, I think it's really just going to show them that, like, I'm not alone, and there's power in numbers and there's power in community. God never intended for us to go through hard seasons alone, and you're a testament to that.
Thank you.
Blake, maybe for a kid who's watching this today, what would you say to them, right? Like, maybe they've just gotten that news, or they're very much into their parent going through it. What would you say if you could speak directly to that kid right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just use myself as an example. Looking back in that situation, I would just probably tell the kid that just stay grounded and know yourself and know your story. My whole mindset through the whole thing is this gonna be a heck of a story. Kind of the fact that my mom not even being here to see all the success now, looking back at it, I feel like, it's better that she looks at it through a different lens up top. But also to that kid, like, it hurts. Like, I know it hurts. A lot of people have been there before, but you're not the only one. Take it as a blessing, and take it as a positive way. And the way I've been thinking about it, and I'm not even the biggest faith guy, but just kind of God taking her and, not seeing her want to suffer anymore. At the same time, knowing that, it sucks. I mean, I'm not going to have my mom no more, but I know God got her. So just kind of knowing that fact and that portion of the story, and building this and implementing it into my heart. I feel like, when I got my mom in my heart, nobody can stop me. And just kind of knowing that breast cancer, I mean, it didn't really have a factor on my mom or me. And I mean, I just felt like I lost my mom. Nothing to do with breast cancer, nothing to do with any of that. Just kind of just thinking the reality of that she's gone and I have to move forward. But I know that she's there with me every step of the way.
She's literally a part of you. I mean, it's impossible to distinguish the difference between me and my parents and my brothers, and then, other people that have been meaningful in my life. We are the reflection of that for the rest of our lives wherever we go. And I think even though your mom, I didn't know her, but even though she didn't get to see this present success that you're having and everything you're going to have, she would have told you were going to be successful. I mean, that's the thing about parents, is they have our backs. They see our best and our potential, and they believe in us in a really profound way. And what would you say that your mom would say your life was a success, that you, Blake, were successful? What would it be, say 10, 20 years from now?
Yeah, I would say that she was really a person who affected others and wanted to help out others. So just kind of what I'm doing now, and making sure that I'm in the light of, how she raised me, how my parents raised me to be a great young man. But I feel like her, me impacting others and getting my story out there and making other people feel comfortable enough to come out here and, share their story and get help, because that's one thing that I didn't do. I was hard-headed. I didn't listen. Everybody was coming at me with different advice. I was balled up in my own shell at that point. But to be honest with you, looking back at it now, I regret that for sure. And not hearing everything, all the lessons. And I mean, I wasn't the only one. I mean, obviously I wasn't trying to hear that, of course, when she passed away, but kind of looking back at it now that, I'm not the only one that's lost my mom or lost somebody to breast cancer. And it's kind of building up the awareness and building up the research and different things like that, because I know I'm not the only one who's going through this. So just kind of her, I feel like she would know if I was successful, because just looking down at another kid who's going through the same thing, or who looks up to Blake Harper, or just different things like that, just kind of seeing that to a day to day.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me that she was an impact person. It sounds like her whole life was about making an impact on people, and that was her measure of success. So, you know, I just, again, I think you're coming into this whole thing right. And, you know, you're obviously just on the cusp of breaking into some fame and that kind of thing. And people are going to come at you from all different sides. And that's what I work on. My son, he's 17, and character is everything. That's all we talk about, because, you know, more than even like skills, like specific job skills or anything like that, it's your character that defines what your life is, the success you're going to have in your life. And character, by the way, when you go through these really horrible things like what you've gone through, a lot of people don't go through that till much later in their life. And it's really hard for a young man to go through it. In many ways, you've been given this gift of having learned, and your eyes have been open to what actually matters in life. And you have an empathy for other people now that is far beyond what other young people would have. And I think you're just so set up for success. I mean, that's the thing, is like, what we want people to succeed in life who have great character and who are going to be a great influence on other young men. Is any other things you want to ask along?
Well, I just want to see how many Drake references I can get in before we let you go today, because it's such a vibe to me. First of all, I'm just going to say, can I get a Blake Harper jersey? Because I feel like I would look really good in a Howard jersey. I'm just saying,
Yep.
I'm here for it. We're your biggest fan. I genuinely think from the bottom of my heart, Blake, we're going to move mountains together. Like, I don't think you realize like how big of a deal today is, because you're very much still in it. And we just really hope we can be a part of the healing process and the growing process and this transformative movement that we can work together on to help other people feel seen, validated, and heard through sharing your story. I do think it's God's plan. We can laugh now and cry later to deal with your family matters. Started from the bottom, now we're here. That is my motto. And I'm out. I'm out. But no, that's it. No, that's it. Hey, I want to know, as a sports fan, as a freaking fan of what you're doing, man, like, what is next for you? Like, what are your goals? The team is great. I mean, the team is wonderful under your leadership. Like, what's next for you in the way of basketball?
Yeah, kind of just finding myself. I feel like I'm still trying to juggle who I am as a player. Kind of this whole bumps and roads of becoming a college basketball player was kind of hard for me. I didn't. Funny story. I was actually a towel boy when I first came to Howard. I couldn't make a conditioning test, so they were just trying to trolling me for the first 2 months, and like I was lead wiping up sweat of the other guys until I could make my test. So just kind of mental battles. But I would say, like, going from the towel boy to being a team captain in like 3 months, I feel like that my story is so different from a lot of people. What's next at basketball for me, I would say, like, my new role. I mean, I'm trying to, you know, it's only me and my dad now, and I'm trying to, you know, make sure he's all right, make sure everybody's all right. And now that I'm in a position of whereas I can get money for, you know, my skill set, and I feel like I can, you know, I want to fulfill my dreams and eventually go play in the NBA. Just kind of keeping that chip on my shoulder, and nobody really believed in me coming out of high school, and knowing that I was really heavily recruited and I had 4 offers, I was unranked. Now a lot of people was in my corner, but kind of now seeing the shift, and now a lot of people, you know, but I take notes for sure, mental notes for sure. But I would just probably say my next step is just keep trying to be great and knowing myself and knowing my morals and values throughout this whole process while I'm in the spotlight.
We're going to do that together. I do want to ask you quickly before we let you go, though, about NIL. I mean, what a new beast that is, right? Like, it's a whole new world now. I do feel like there's varying opinions on it. I personally think that it was a long time overdue. How do you vet these opportunities that are coming your way? I mean, what an overwhelming process, especially when you're like 1 and 2, right? Like in your respective business, like, how are you vetting all of these people that come to you and say, I want to partner, I want to do this, I want to do that?
Yeah, just kind of knowing who I am as a person as well. I feel like a lot of people, when they see a dollar amount, they start to lose their self, start to lose their mental, and start to lose basically their foundation where they came from. But I feel like Blake Harper is a different guy. Kind of just partnering with the right people, because it's a lot of different sharks in this ocean, I'm gonna say. And NIL, it could be a gift and a curse. But I feel like on the gifted side, definitely, like you said previously, it should have been implemented earlier for sure. Because I know a lot of guys who probably could have profited off their success way earlier in times. But now that it's here, I mean, I'm gonna take advantage of it for sure. There's kind of little things like that I do on a daily day, like partnering with a mental health app. I partner with the Inner Journey app. I mean, I eat food, I eat pizza, so I partner with And Pizza. Just kind of different things that I do, not nothing to get me like off track or anything like that. I kind of just do everything that I do on a day to day, and if I don't do it on a day to day, I mean, I hope somebody else gets that opportunity that I was offered. So kind of NIL, I kind of take it as, do I do it, and how would this look on my character and my profile, for real? Me and my dad have long talks about people, coming in and trying to, hop on the wave, like literally. But I mean, it's not really about the dollar amount. It's kind of what they have to offer and kind of the experience. I'm more of an experienced guy, not more like a financial guy. So if I want to get out there and, like I'm hosting a yoga event February 2nd with the student body with Howard Basketball for mental health. It's kind of different things like that. You see a lot of people with the cars and different things like that, the big time NIL, but I'm kind of more of an experienced guy. And how can I change the people around me?
Oh, I love that. Stick to who you are, right? If you don't ever deter from like your character and like that, it's so authentic and that comes across. It comes across talking to you today. Like it's just such a refreshing experience because you're right. Some people try to like just go down a different path for the dollar signs. And I just commend you for sticking to who you are. And I know Miss Linda's proud of that. Hey, but we know how busy you are. We know you probably got to get to class today. I just wanted to say thank you for your time. And we so are looking forward to this journey with you and watching you continue to develop on the court and all the amazing things you're going to do in your career, but even more so what you're going to do off the court and hopefully alongside NBCF, to change lives and to really inspire hope to people whenever they need it most. So anything else, Blake, before we let you go?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for having me. I know like this is a great platform, and this is really like when the opportunity was presented to me, I didn't hesitate to say yes. Kind of everybody knowing my story and knowing, my personal matter, but I feel like my personal matter is also, definitely beneficial because somebody else is going through that and doesn't want it to be, public, their personal matter being public. So kind of going off that, my last thing I just wanted to say, like, you're not alone. It's a lot of people going through what you're going through, but make sure you find the right outlet. Because make sure you can vent to somebody. Make sure you can, rub your shoulder on somebody, rub your emotions off. And having the right people in your corner. That's what I wanted to say. So I just want to say thank you for having me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Oh, I love that. And hey, we're lucky that you're in our corner. So thank you for that.
We're rooting for you, man.
Yeah.
You got to make it all the way, buddy.
All right, Mr. Hotline Bling, you get my jersey in the mail. I'm going to wear it. It's going to be good.
Thank you.
Hey, we love you. Have a good day. And we look forward to seeing you in Dallas real soon, okay?
Thanks, Blake.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you soon. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Hope Ignited. What an incredible episode. I just love him.
Very, very heartwarming episode.
I really do want his jersey.
What?
I really do want his jersey.
Oh, I know.
I meant that.
Me
like,
too.
send us the jersey. We really want to wear it. Yeah.
Me too. Well, Ashley, what were some takeaways for you from that episode?
I mean, a couple of behind the scenes things that I think a lot of people don't realize was just how his willingness to have this interview. I think that, he's a kid. We forget that like he's doing a student athlete. He talked a lot about that, just the expectations in his day to day and how exhausted, but to wake up and to give us the amount of time that he did, I thought was so generous. Also just Howard University, kudos to them for the accessibility. I mean, they genuinely just jumped on board and said, look, this is important to him. So it's important to us. We believe in you guys. We believe in your mission and what you're doing. So let's work together for good. So I would just say the accessibility and the willingness really meant a lot to me, but also just as like the mother of a son, his maturity. I mean, so rarely do we come across athletes that I would genuinely love for my son to meet Blake one day. And I hope that we can make that happen, for him to understand what integrity and just what a good human he is. I think he probably works harder than anybody that I've ever met personally on the basketball court. But then just to be that person when he
Dirk.
walks, I know, right? Ugh, sorry, big German. But like the second he walks off of that court, I think that honestly, his character says a lot more about who he'll be for the duration of his lifetime and the impact that he will make as opposed to the stats.
That's right. It was profound to me. I mean, all those things you say are true. It points to how well he was raised.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, I have kids that are now not kids anymore. My son is close to his age.
That's crazy.
You know, he really splits the middle between my daughter and my son.
And how much his height?
Well, Blake's like 6'8", I think. But I think about all the things that you put into your kids, and a lot of times, like you're saying things. If you're a parent, you can relate to this, I'm sure, where you say things and you just feel like it's just going in one ear and out the other, and they do the complete opposite. But one thing I've noticed is that as they get older, and then they're out in the world, people will come back to you and they'll say, "Wow, your kids are so well behaved," and then you'll be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. My kids? Hoping, did you see my kids?
Yeah. You talking about my kids? And you get that good feedback. But for me, the biggest takeaway I got from it, what really had to do with the fact that when he was sharing with such passion, like what was driving him to do this? Because if you think about it, he lost his mom, and it wasn't just like, this is my parent. It was like his best friend.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the only child, so she poured everything into him. And I can't imagine a year and a half later after losing my mom, getting on doing an interview and bearing my heart out there for everyone. And so that begs the question, what's motivating him to do that? And what I heard from him today was this heartfelt appeal for young people to not stuff those feelings down inside, but to talk to someone. And you may remember back to our episode with Meg Donnelly. If you guys haven't listened to that episode, we highly recommend you go back and do that. That was the same type of message, that when you are the child of someone who's going through cancer or some significant disease, it's very hard to process that. Right. And so what happens is you just sort of stuff those emotions down. And I think even like young men, it's probably even more that way. And he said that it's like he didn't really handle it right while he was going through it. No one does, by the way, Blake. Yeah. But he didn't handle it right, and it really ate at him. And he was, the message that he came away with is, you need to talk to other people, even if it comes out messy and it's for your mental health.
Yeah. I think that's so important. I think it's so good. And then selfishly, the only other takeaway that I have is, this kid set the bench his senior year in high school. And look at what he's been able to accomplish. Like Howard University is no joke. Like they're in a tough conference. It's a different world now, like you said, with NIL. I mean, it's incredible what these athletes are able to do. And honestly, the funding behind getting them to the best of the best to be able to do it. But here's my hope that I took away from it. Maybe I still have a chance, because this kid still hasn't even peaked. And just sure, yeah.
What do you want in sport right now? Could you go out and do and least embarrass yourself?
I'm gonna be real honest with you.
Gymnastics.
There are two options for me. At my university, there was a bass fishing team.
Oh.
You could get a scholarship.
Okay, I could do that.
I can fish. Okay, Bill Dance took notes from me. I am like Dwarf Goes Fishing.
There's a picture. You know what? We're going to put a picture up.
We have a picture
of Ashley catching a fish. We were at a company retreat.
Yeah.
And Ashley and I had my fishing poles. And I was like, "Come on, Ashley, let's go out and go fishing."
Probably, broke some type of world record for how big that fish was.
Probably. So the bass fishing team.
The bass fishing team.
What a Louisiana thing.
I know. Or you'll
start.
appreciate this. We're also like 30-something time national water ski champions. And I'm not trying to pretend like I'm some water ski expert. I can.
Okay.
But let me tell you, where they really take it home is barefoot. They barefoot ski
because
on
no
the
one.
water.
That's the way you guys walk around anyway.
Yeah,
so
I have a lot of hope.
Natural.
They also don't want to fall because it happens in the bayou, and like nobody wants to fall,
gators.
so they're not falling. Yeah, they aren't. They aren't falling.
That's
to
a
save their
good
lives.
point.
So all I'm saying is thank you, Blake, for giving me hope that maybe I haven't peaked yet as an athlete. There's still time.
But you know who there's not time for?
Oh, gosh. Who?
Okay, so now we're going to go into our new segment.
Hot Take is our new segment that we're going to do where we are going to get things off of our chest. Let's get into our brand new segment, Hot Take.
It's a hot take.
You just got a real hot take when you inhaled some of that coffee just then. Hey, listen.
That's right.
We take a lot of pride in these segments that we're doing lately because it is an opportunity for you guys to hear more from us. And I appreciate that you guys are telling us that you want to know more about who we are and what we do. This one was one we could not pass up. We knew that when we were thinking about this segment and genuinely just expressing from the depths of our souls something that has been weighing on us that we want to get off of our chest, we were going to be talking about Luka.
Bear with us if you're not a Dallas Mavericks fan or even just a basketball fan in general.
Or a sports fan.
We're going to talk in general terms, and I might get into some specifics, but I won't get into like NBA trade analysis and things like that.
Are you going to cry? Do you think you're going to cry?
But I want to appeal to you as a fan of anything. You could be a fan of any. You could be a fan of Louisiana water skiing.
Nothing wrong with that.
The Louisiana barefoot water skiing team.
Nothing wrong with
the
that.
Gators.
Yeah.
But okay, so what happened in the last week here, and depending on when you are, hearing this, what happened specifically was the Dallas Mavericks traded away Luka Doncic to the LA Lakers, and it was a seismic trade, definitely the most historic trade in NBA history.
Yes.
And if you're in the DFW area, that's all anyone was talking about, and still is
And
to some
LA.
degree.
And LA.
But yeah, and just in general, if you're
Yeah.
an NBA fan, that's all anyone was talking about. So I, as a fan, I've been a fan since the Mavericks were in the Reunion Arena. And if you guys have ever been to Dallas, you know the Reunion Ball is Reunion Tower.
Before I was born is what he's saying.
Yeah, way before.
Mm-hmm.
Reunion Tower looks like a golf ball on top of a stick, and the Reunion Arena is downtown, and it's still there, but it's still there?
It's the iconic Dallas
it's being used
skyline.
for
If you know the
conventions or
Dallas
something.
skyline, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been a fan of the Mavericks since then. I played basketball one time with Mark Aguirre. I used to go and watch all those games. And so, growing up, I was just a huge fan. Flash forward to all the wonderful Dirk years. 2006, I went with my brother to the NBA Finals and watched the Mavericks lose in a heartbreaking way to the Heat and LeBron. And that's why this is even more painful because LeBron continues to be the thorn in my side.
The cut is very deep.
Yeah. But then in 2011, they won, and it was really special.
It was very special.
It was, to say the least, it was redemption. And I've been hanging on to that for a long time. So as Dirk, aged and we knew we were going to lose him, we were like, what's the future look like? And then they bring in this young man from Slovenia.
Who else do we need subtitles for to come play for this team?
Yeah,
to save
exactly.
the team. Insert Luka.
Global. We already had a history of finding like global talent.
Thank
Dirk
you, Donnie.
had proven that.
Yeah.
Ashley used to work for Donnie.
Yeah.
And Donnie Nelson, the former GM for the Mavericks, and Donnie had recruited Dirk. And did he have any hand in Luka?
I think he knew. Yeah. I think it just was kind of the same track of like they knew that a powerhouse generational player was coming out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm blathering on a little long to get to this point that for the city getting Luka meant we now have another like decade or more of having this incredible Dirk-like experience where you have one player that you build a team in the future for.
Or so we thought.
And we're back, like we got another Dirk and we're going to have this special and we're going to stick with this guy till the wheels fall off. And so then, that was Mark Cuban, great owner. He would sit on the front row, and he was always there just passionate about it. Well, and then he sold the team
to the Queen of Casinos,
a year or two ago, whatever it was, and he sold out. And so everyone was kind of like, well, I hope they're okay.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, let's see what's going on.
Yeah.
And so when this trade happened the other day and they traded away Luka for an old guy that, is me, Like me and AD, we're kind of the same.
Who is chronically injured.
A guy that's kind of injured and stuff like that. It was absolutely gut-wrenching. No one could understand why and what had
We all thought it
happened.
was fake. Like, honestly, everybody, AD, the player that we got for Luka with a handful of other things, actually had a big hand in like a prank reality show. And people were like, this is a part of that. This is a bit. Like, there's no way this is real. So much so that like the Shefties of the world and the Ians of the world were like, I don't have confidence reporting this news story because I don't know if it's legit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but the first thing I'd go do is look at Shefty's like social channels to like know if something is true or not. And I wasn't seeing it. I just wasn't seeing it because I think it was such, to your point, a monumental moment. And I saw so many posts, and I thought of you where they were like, I will never forget where I was the moment that I found out that Luka was traded or that the Mavs let him go. It was very reminiscent of when I found out NSYNC broke up. Like, I will never forget
It was like
where I was.
a death, hearing of a death. And honestly, that's how I was trying to explain to somebody. And they're like, oh, you're exaggerating. It's like, no, it felt like loss. And so I kind of just, having studied it the last week or so and hearing everyone talk about it, I don't know. I still believe that there's more to it than we will ever know.
I don't think we'll ever really know.
One of the theories,
really don't.
Have you heard any of the conspiracy
I've heard
theories?
so many wild theories.
The biggest theory that I've heard is that they were going. The ownership group is out of Las Vegas. They had purchased a team, and they were trying to get a casino in Dallas. They would have to get,
which we don't have. By the way,
we don't allow that to happen
watching.
here in Texas. So it would have to be the legislature would have to pass and approve that and allow gambling. And they didn't. And so there was this sense of like a punitive, well, we're going to tank the team now. And by tanking the team, then that would allow the team to be franchised. So what would you do? If you were trying to tank the team, this is actually what you would do.
Yeah.
So that's
and
why I
move
think
the
that
team
kind of
elsewhere. Have you heard that?
Yeah, to move it to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And Vegas is kind of gobbling up all the other franchises in town. And nothing has really helped. The biggest reason that they cited for trading him away is that he was injury prone. He just didn't take care of his health.
Yeah.
He was just kind of like
they said at one point
something.
he weighed in at like 270 or something. And that honestly, he just didn't take it seriously. They felt like there was nothing they could say or do that would make him prioritize, his conditioning, and that even the trainer of the team said it's a lost cause.
Right. Like somehow Luka getting us to the finals last year while kind of injured. I mean, everyone's injured.
It was his freaking flu game.
That's not good enough.
Yeah.
Like getting to the finals is not good enough.
What do you want the man to do? Walk on water at ULM on the water ski team? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I will tell you, hot take, I genuinely believe in our lifetime, we will never experience anything like that ever again.
No.
Ever again. I remember it was
Betrayal
reminiscent
at the highest
of.
level.
Do you remember when we found out, and it was the NBA game where really it all came down? It was March 11th of 2020 when we found out that the NBA season was going to shut down for COVID. And you saw all those images of people on the sidelines, the players, the coaches, Mark Cuban specifically seeing it and being like, no way. The images of players and coaches and athletes in every sport around the world finding out that Luka was traded, just go watch it. I encourage you guys to go look at it because it is a hot take for us and it cuts real deep for us. But this was, big news.
So does it affect your fanhood going forward?
I am not going to continue to replace the casket in front of the American Airlines Center, which people are doing. People are mourning. People are, as we speak, people are picketing outside. People are getting ejected from games for having signs saying to fire the GM there. But it affects my fandom in the way of like, it felt like for the first time, at least since I've been a Mavericks fan, since 2009, I would say, that they didn't prioritize the fans.
That's right. You just hit on what it is. I think that basketball and sports in general is a vehicle for fans to get out of our own lives, our own miserable lives, if you will. And wherever you are, you have this stable thing. For me, it was like connecting to my brother who's no longer with me.
Yeah.
Brent was excited about Luka. And Brent, if you're listening up in heaven on this, I'm sorry we let you down.
He's mad too.
But anyway, it was, to me, it's sports brings us all together.
Yeah.
It's the thing that is always there for you,
Yeah.
you know? And so Luka, it felt like they took that from us. They took, and it's not just about wins. It's not just, it's these moments, and Luka would give us these moments. You know, it's special. It's like watching him with the ball in his hands. There's only 2 or 3 guys in the league that could do that you would trust. That it was like a Kobe thing, or LeBron, or Michael Jordan, or something, where you go, wow, they've got a chance to do something special here, and he did. And so now we just got a bunch of random guys, and good guys and all that, but there's no identity to the team
Well,
anymore.
and it is unfair to those guys that came to the Mavs, because they don't stand a chance in the way of just
Kyrie's probably gone.
they could be the greatest players on the face of the earth, and it would never feel like it because we lost Luka. But fair to say too, before we wrap, I do want to say, in the last week, 10 plus days since this has happened, he goes to LA, has an incredible first game. Dirk chooses, instead of going to the Mavs game, flies to Los Angeles to support him in his debut with the Lakers. Meanwhile,
that's Mavericks royalty.
The Mavs are losing by double digits. It's humiliating. It's embarrassing. We get our new star player out there. He gets injured. He's out a few weeks. I mean, it's just unreal. It's like
it's
it couldn't
imploding.
continue to get any worse. But I told you so, you know?
Anyway, so yeah, it's a little bleak around here, but you know, and I don't really have any hope. There's no hope ignited in me as a fan.
We got it. Here's how I'm going to ignite hope in you. I genuinely
Please ignite
believe
hope in
that
me,
we've got to
Ashley.
go through it to get to it.
Yeah.
And I also believe at the end of the day, here's my greatest hope. As somebody who does not love Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, he's shining right now. You want to believe somebody who is
Jerry
now
look good.
not the most hated sports icon in Dallas sports? Jerry, you're welcome. So let's see the rainbows after the rain. Let's think positive.
Something will happen eventually.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, right.
It's
Like there's
gonna
going to
be
be
good.
some young player that we get or something. Or we'll all just go to Vegas and watch the new Las Vegas Mavericks
Viva.
play
Yeah.
in a couple years.
And y'all will
but-
never hear a word of what happens there because it stays there. But we're here to ignite hope. We're seeing the rainbows through the rain. I'm telling you, we got to get through it to get to it. And
Okay, I like that. I'll
It's going to
take
be
that.
fine. It's going to be fine.
I'll take that.
Yes.
Any last words before we wrap up the
No,
episode?
I just want to say a lot of people don't even realize this, and we haven't talked about it, but something that's really cool about this episode, that sports is our love language, basketball is our love language. I actually met Kevin and his mom and all of NBCF because of basketball.
She has a big connection to
So
this.
it was a really fun
That's what brought us
episode,
together.
and it was so fun to spend time with Blake and to be able to do our hot take on Luka. I hope you guys are loving the new segments. We've got lots of more fun for you guys coming up. But thank you for indulging us and letting us give you our hot take and cry a little bit.
That's right. And make sure you you pop on to YouTube if you're listening to this. And then when you're on YouTube, it would mean a lot to us if you would like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Share, the content around. We'll have some of this will be clipped, here and there. And those clips are really fun to share. So we can't thank you enough for the feedback we get from you guys. We have amazing guests lined up.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's incredible.
Interview we got here in a couple days is going to blow your mind. It's really exciting.
Totally agree.
So thank you guys for sticking with us. And
we'll see you next time on Hope Ignited.
Yeah.